Really? You had to bribe your, I'm assuming
Yeah,
it's a dog.
Yeah,
four of them.
yeah,
Yes, just so they wouldn't sing the song of their people
yeah.
for everybody.
Everywhere. They're doing it everywhere. Oh no.
Yeah,
Yes.
Peanut brought home a pet cat, so it's really
Yeah.
a beautiful cat. It's nice. So yeah, and he's happy. He's like, oh, okay, hey, cool, all right, yeah,
Isn't that nice?
yeah,
It's like the two cats that lived outside that I had.
yeah,
Once they came in, they're like, yeah, we don't want to go outside anymore. It's like,
yeah.
okay,
No, I've had. Thank you. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I have to deal with the, sub-zero weather.
yes. That's kind of what he did. It's like, okay, I'm here. He'll go out for a few minutes, and he has a girlfriend that he keeps trying to get to come in, and she's come in a couple times, but yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
It's a little Romeo.
yeah.
Is she from a
Yes.
good neighborhood?
Yeah, no, not my neighborhood. Yeah.
she brought up right. She good enough for him.
Yeah.
Uh,
One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know.
that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
We took some pictures of the native girls, but they weren't developed. So we're going back again next week.
hey, you sound like Alan Alda doing Groucho, Al.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I guess that's where I learned it, right from MASH.
yeah.
Yes, totally. How many lines have we taken from MASH?
Many.
Star Trek, Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yes.
I was a big fan of MASH. I have the movie on
Yeah.
DVD, and of
Yeah.
course the
Yes.
TV series. Great lines, especially the first few seasons.
Yes.
He they took a couple of the quite a few of the storylines for the TV series from the book, and
Uh-huh.
in the book, Hawkeye goes, "You bet your ass," but on the
Yeah.
TV series, he goes, "You bet your belly button."
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't swear. Couldn't
Yeah.
cuss.
No,
Yeah.
now you could though. Now you can say ass, and I
Yeah.
think Letterman was the first one to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the episode too. It's like, what? He said
Yeah.
that? Oh, it's late night. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. After 8 or 9,
Yeah.
they both
Yeah.
say
So whose
certain
was he
words.
referring to?
Yeah.
Hey, let me see if this works. Is that going to be visible? Yeah,
That's
most.
visible. It certainly is not invisible.
Are you invisible? Are you incognito? Are you?
I
Never
was
mind.
invisible yesterday. Just like to say. Apparently, I'm like chilling on the couch, I'm got the blankets and all. And the husband walks in after a hockey game. And he apparently he did not see me because I blended in with the couch. And he was like looking like, where is she? I turned my head. I'm like, what? Oh, he
Oh,
jumped.
yeah, no doubt.
I was like, I'm just laying here. I don't know.
That's really funny. So now you can use camouflage at very appropriate and inappropriate times too.
It was just I was just laying on the couch in my robe when in my jammies. Like, how could you not see me? I don't know. Oh, what is this? Don't give me
You
stuff updates.
you hear that too? Was that me or
Ding ding.
you?
Roy has entered the waiting room.
Ah,
It's like
let
the
him
Doctor
in.
Who episode.
Let them in.
Snow has
Roy,
entered the waiting
yay,
room. Two
and
people entered the waiting
Carlina,
room.
yay.
I sent a flare up.
Wow, we have
Yeah,
an
you have
audience.
to bring your own snacks to that waiting room. You know that, right?
No, no kidding. They
Yeah.
promised me a green room chock full of snacks. Oh, brother.
No, they lied. There's
Hey,
no snacks.
Roy. Hey, Carlina.
Hello, everybody.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Hey.
recognise you, Dr. Michael, in a suit. Who's that? Is it the bank manager?
Okay, here's the thing. There was a TV show called Wild Wild West in the 60s and 70s. I loved it. They show it still on TV. And whatever Jim West, the star of that show, wears that morning, this is what I wear to the Saturday show.
Boom.
Well, what are you gonna do when
Nobody
he's got his
cares.
pajamas on
Okay.
then?
I like that.
Yeah,
I
well,
got to
you don't have to broadcast when he does the shower scene. You could just go dark.
Yeah. I would thought he wears his pajamas in the morning.
Very nice.
By the way, if Al is eating my Post Malone cookies, I'm gonna kill him.
Uh-oh. Hey, are you guys in the same city, Carlina and Al, or no more?
No, I'm back to work. So I'm in South Carolina right now. So
Okay.
anytime you see the Peruvian llama thing behind me and all the
Ah,
toys and books
very
and
good.
skulls. Yeah.
Very good.
So did you
Yeah.
get like 2 inches of snow, Carlina?
No. We didn't get any. We got flurries Thursday, and but it was like crap falling from the sky. And so all
Ew.
the students were unprepared. They were walking around cold. I had me gloves and I had me little flat cap, and I was all ready for it.
I called my aunt, who now we're like, that's my mama and I'm her daughter. And she's like, oh, they got like 1 inch of snow, and of course the whole state shuts down. And they've already had 2 days off of school, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
It's
we're
insane.
used to it, but they're not.
It's insane. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure for like salt trucks and things
Yeah.
like that. And so they put brine on the roads, but it's gonna freeze anyway here because everything turns to ice. So
Yeah.
so
Just everybody stay home.
Hey, Holly's coming in.
Ollie has
Hi,
some-
Mike.
Hey. Oh, Mike. Al's brother,
Hello.
Mike.
You know that dye box back there is probably older than Carlina.
Burn.
It is. It is.
Oh.
Hello, Holly. Welcome.
Hey,
That's
everybody.
okay. I have a book here older than you guys.
Uh-oh. I don't think so.
The oldest book I have in the house is from 1843. It's on phthisis.
There you go. I was
Tuberculosis.
born in 1842.
Wow.
You can't
Just
keep a
missed
good
it.
man down.
That would make you what? A vampire or something?
Oh no, I don't want to give anyone a pain in the neck. Oh, yikes.
Or did you find another way? No, you just go to the hospital like they show in movies, right? And drink the blood. No.
How we doing? 2 more minutes. Two
2
more
more
minutes.
2 more minutes.
Everybody chant 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
Two. Do the
I
countdown.
I think we're done. I think
Oh, we're all
yeah,
done? That was quick.
That wasn't 2 minutes.
That was fantastic, wasn't it? That
Like,
was
wow.
well, by men's standards, that was 2 minutes.
I must have dropped off there.
I see dead people.
Oops. And welcome everybody to this madhouse. It's our pre-show on Facebook. You're privy to this. You may not be later, or other viewers may not be for obvious reasons. This segment of the show may put some people to sleep, but if you've joined us already in progress, thank you so much. We are going to formally start the show. Our guest is right there. You can see Mike a little bit prematurely, but that's my doing. And he's our very special guest. And I'm very, very excited and grateful to have him. And yeah, looks like we're just about ready to start the show. What do you think, Cheryl? I'm just waiting for Cheryl to say,
Try
nah,
not to.
like, huh?
I try not to think. It's more
Oh,
fun.
I hear you. I hear you. Ah, so
Got a minute.
you think we should start?
No, 4 o'clock.
Ooh, holy,
1 minute
holy,
warning.
holy
It's like hockey
Toledo.
games.
Everybody mute yourselves. We're about to begin. Please. You may remember me from my television shows in the 1980s and 90s, and now I host 2 regularly live-streamed virtual magic shows. One is a showcase for some of the greatest magicians in the world, and the other is a talk show featuring some of the most inspiring conjurers of our times. Welcome now to Magical People. And welcome everybody to Magical People. We're so thankful that you showed up this day. We've got a sneak preview of our guest, Mike Shaw, who will be joining us in a few minutes. Hopefully not too long. We'll look forward to seeing you soon, Mike. But for now, we are going to play with some magic. We are going to play with some mentalism. Are you up for it, Cheryl?
I certainly am.
I hope so. We've rehearsed this for weeks.
It's-
No, we
yes.
haven't. A little bit. We did actually rehearse somewhat, but it's really hard. We have such a tough schedule that it's not. We like to rehearse and all that sort of thing.
The distance, it's tough.
Yeah, tough. I'd love to bring in an assistant. So us let us bring in Mike's brother, Al. Al, you're going to have to unmute yourself. How are you this day, Al?
Unmuted.
It's great to have you.
I am not muted.
You are unmuted. People are tempted to mute me all the time, but thankfully, and I notice you're not wearing a vest, and I'm not wearing a vest today either, or a waistcoat. I don't know how or why we did that, but nonetheless, we did.
Waste not, want not.
Yes. No sooner said, the better. That's highly Selassie of you. Some lines from MASH. We were talking about that off camera. In any case, Cheryl has, as I do, a prediction. Whoa, that suddenly appeared. That actually looked really good. See, Chroma Key can be our friend. And Cheryl is going to keep that prediction in full view. I'm not. I'm just going to drop it down. I'm going to hope that people trust me on this. I'm going to, however, bring up some cards. These are cards that I did laminate. It relates to my trip. I almost asked you to bring up your cards as well, Cheryl, but that will be maybe for Wednesday's show, for the
Maybe.
open mic magic show on Facebook. Look it up, everyone. This has to do with a journey that I had recently through a grocery store, and not turmoil, but silliness that ensued. One of the cards is the grocery list because knowing me, I have to write everything down. If I don't write things down, I'll never remember. Money, sometimes I will bring cash, sometimes credit card or debit card, but money is very important, of course, when going through the grocery store or anywhere, actually. Another one, what is this? The cash register receipt. Once you have paid for your items, you get your cash register receipt. And last and certainly not least, I love to sometimes place my business card on the bulletin board. There's often a bulletin board. So if you're following my whole little journey through the grocery store, I'll be going up and down the aisles, and I'll even go to the grocery store for like one item. I'm not proud, I don't care. But in the end, Al,
Yes.
I pay for the, oh, good. I got a response. You don't know how sometimes I worry that I'll ask and there'll be nothing, there'll be silence. So, which one of these stands out for you? Business card, receipt, cash register,
Cash register receipts.
Really?
Sorry, yes.
Wow, you're a better man than I am. You know what? I really should keep my cash register receipts, but I never do. So this is the one, and I didn't prompt you. We've set nothing up. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Excellent. You could have picked any one of these five, and there's nothing on the back of this one. Remember, I made two predictions. Nothing on the back of this one. Nothing on the back of this one. However, there is an X on the back of
That's
the only one.
That's my ex.
Aren't we always trying to get rid of them? That's a whole other thing. Yes, an X. And sometimes it takes court orders, doesn't it? No, that's a whole other thing as well. So, cash register receipt was your choice. This was, it wasn't in full view, but you'll have to trust me on this. Cheryl's was in full view, however. So let us open our little envelopes. There's nothing else in there. And what, lo and behold, do we have as a prediction come true is the cash register receipt.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Broadway Al. I have to call you Broadway Al because it's in the script. No, we are so thankful to have
I
you.
wrote it down here for you.
You did too, and believe me, I need it. Thank you, Al.
Oh, thanks. That was fun.
Yay. Wow, I don't believe that worked, Cheryl.
Why?
Well, for me,
Do you
thought
have no
reading-
confidence?
no, for me, thought reading is not a perfect thing. So
No.
there's always that little, okay, so it
Yep.
can be a perfect thing if I work at it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
always
for that.
wiggle room.
That's true. That's true. I'll always have that in my mind. I'll always remember that. There's a little bit of wiggle room. I want to show all of you. He sent me this video, so it's actually his fault. It's our next guest as a child magician. It's only a few seconds, but it's really fun. And to be honest, I think there's more magic that's going on than meets the eye. Let's check this out. And there we are. That's adorable. I'm referring to the cat, of course, to the kitten. But yes, Mike, as a child, you were probably adorable too.
He
Let's
was.
put our hands together for the great Mike Shaw. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today, Mike.
Thank you. I must give credit to Al for filming that. He got the brilliant idea of how to do stop motion trick photography. And of course, I was the magician, so he came up with the idea to have a cat appear and vanish. So thank
I
you for
love
that.
it. I love it. Wow. So we do have him to thank. When now, how old were you then in the
I was about 11 at the time.
so were you already interested in magic?
Yeah,
When did
I
you
had just
catch
got interest. Yes, yes. I had just got interested in magic. As a matter of fact, that handkerchief you saw was from the first magic trick that I ever got. When I became interested, my mom bought me this trick called the Bewitched Ring.
Oh, cool.
And I bought a copy. I managed to get one. It's in excellent condition. It's about a magical blue ring and a cup. And this cup just seems so small now. But the handkerchief that you saw was
Whoa.
this actual handkerchief. And the trick required that I show it empty like this. See? And then put my hand underneath. The ring goes in the cup and changes color. So that's how I learned how to do that particular display. And I just wanted to share that. And you can see that I got the same handkerchief. I'm kind of thrilled to have the first trick that I ever did.
So cool. When or what actually was the first magic shop you ever went to?
First magic shop, it was later. So before the magic shop, back then in the 1960s, we lived on Long Island, and there weren't any magic shops around. And the only place you could see magic was at a fair or, maybe a carnival. And there were catalogs, but I didn't have any at the time. But my family moved to Chicago shortly after that little clip that you saw. I was about 11 and a half, 12 years old. And my father was in a management training program. And believe it or not, and this was magic, there was a real magic store only 2 blocks away from the hotel we were staying in. And I would walk there, and there with the proprietor, his name was Mr. Tracy, would sell us magic tricks. And it was just such a thrill. And some of the tricks from that shop I actually have on display here. So, for example, you might remember Fox Lake playing cards,
Oh my
bridge
goodness,
size,
yes,
right?
bridge size,
Right.
yes.
And Mr. Tracy made his own roughing fluid. And
Wow.
that's a special secret sauce. And you can see I still have a little left of the original fluid,
Wow. I
which
wonder
I
if it
use.
still works.
I don't want to open it and smell it, but
I do.
I saved it, and using that, I was able to make my first ultra mental deck, and some of you know what that is, and that's this deck
Wow.
right here. And the first trick I bought in that shop was the egg mat, and this is the actual egg from that. It's a trick
Oh
egg, obviously,
no.
and it's made of wood.
It comes from
So
wooden hens, I think.
yes, so that was the first magic shop I ever went to, and it was quite amazing. Changed my life.
No doubt. It's such an incredible journey. When did you first start to perform?
Well, going to the shop, I did acquire, a few tricks, and I was invited to join a magic club by some of the boys that would frequent the shop. And then on Friday nights, we would have a magic club meeting, and then everybody would do a trick. So that was really the first time I got a chance to perform and see other magicians. We were magicians, even though we were like 12, 13, and 14, doing magic. And it was just very exciting. We'd go to a different person's house each Friday. And that was the first time I actually got to perform. Then later, when we moved back to Long Island after my dad's training, we discovered another magic store, and my mom put an ad in a magazine called The Penny Saver. It's an older magazine. Some people may not remember it, but it's an East Coast thing, and you could put an ad in, and it was for me to do magic shows. And I would do birthday parties, and that's when I really got into doing magic and performing. And some of the tricks I did, I bought in this new magic shop I found called the Fun and Gift Shop. And one of the things was, I mean, who could not fall in love with feather flowers, right? And,
Absolutely.
like this was a dream. And of course, the die box was a must-have trick. And this
Whoa.
is the actual die box that I bought then and performed kids' parties with.
Wow.
So there's nothing in the box right now. But so that's when I started really performing a lot, doing some birthday parties.
Oh, wonderful. That's so exciting. Not just the performing part, but the researching magic, the going to magic shops. What a thrill that's probably been the same for all of our magicians out there as well. We've all had certain magicians influence us, or we've loved certain magicians as we were coming up. Who were some of your influences or inspirations, Mike?
Sure. Well, by the time I was doing those shows, I was in my teens, and I started my own magic club locally. And my friends and I would go into New York City. We would take the train in, and back then that was fine to to let a 15-year-old take the train into
Yes.
Manhattan. And we would go and see magic shows. And Louis Tannen's, we'd go to the magic store, Tannen's Magic. And I would also go to a shop called Hornman's, which was Al Flasso's
Yes.
shop. And I
Yes.
actually met Dunninger, Kudabucks, and I would get
Oh,
autographs on blank playing
wow.
cards. So we would go to these shows. Tannen's had a show called the Miracles of Magic show, at which we went to. And after the show, and I saw a lot of greats there, Coe Norton, Don Allen, Walter Blaney, so that was sort of my generation of the greats and who I admired, Roy Benson. So what we would do after the show, we would just run up and go backstage. We would run up the little side staircase to the stage and pull the curtains aside. So 3 or 4 of us would go backstage and talk to the magicians, get their autographs. And John Mowring did an incredible card act. I was practicing, back palming cards, of course, at that age. And he just pulled cards out of thin air, as far as I could tell. And I went backstage and he actually showed me the proper way to produce a card. Of course, back then for me, I would just do the typical back palm and then reproduce it like that. And I said, how did you do that? And he showed me. I'm going to show the audience really quickly. So he actually showed me how to pop it up. Just a little move like that. And for a young teen to be shown by a professional magician how to do a particular card move, there's no thrill greater than that, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those became my heroes.
Wow. I'm going to share with our audience, because I can, one of my favorite performances of yours, on one of the open mic magic shows. And it is a little bit of a twist. It is one of my favorite versions of it. I'd like to share it with everybody out there right
Hello,
now.
magicians and magic fans. Magicians are very fond of reading books, magic books especially. And when we think of book, we think of something like this. And bookmark is a way to mark a page and perhaps a line or a paragraph. So we have a bookmark in a book. But in ancient times, books, we tend to think of them the same way, but books were actually scrolls. They were scrolls of paper rolled up, and on the end of each scroll was a wooden, you might call it a scroll bar, and instead of a bookmark, they used these strings. So what I have here are, of course, reproductions. These aren't the actual wooden scroll bars from the ancient scrolls, but I'm going to show you a little bit of the properties that these scroll bars had when the scholars, usually they were monks, and those were the people who were literate and able to read, how they used it. So, for example, one of the scroll bars would have a long string that went through it, and that could be used as a bookmark, so to speak, to mark a particular place in the scroll. In fact, the height could be adjusted so a person reading the scroll would go to a particular line or a particular word. So that's how these worked. Now, if 2 scholars or monks wanted to read the same scroll, there could be a problem because one monk could have the mark down here, and then the other scholar might want to use it as well. And what would happen is this first guy would lose his place. And then, of course, he would then go back and find his place, and then the second monk would lose his place. And it was kind of strange that even though the 2 scroll bars were separate, that the strings would move each other. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Perhaps there's some sort of attachment between these 2 scroll bars. And you could see there's no attachment. And yet, when you pull this one, the other one goes up, and vice versa. So that was always a problem for these monks. Now, I know what you're saying. If these are really scroll bars, why wouldn't they be completely separate at the back? Well, in fact, they are. And you could see that even when you pull one scroll bar tassel over here, the other scroll bar tassel goes up. And it is kind of strange. So once in a while, they would get into a fight, these two scholars, over the same scroll. And they would pull these tassels at the same time. And look what would happen. Both would be hanging down at the same time. And then neither one of them, even though the tassels were independently able to move, neither one of them could find their place. So they would have to call in the high priest of the order. Well, I'll just show you kind of like what that looked like. The high priest would come in and he would have his special priest's tassels. And here's what they looked like. They looked like this. And he would put that between the scrolls. And then when he would pull on this light brown tassel, they would both go up. And that is how the ancient scrolls and scroll bars worked in ancient times. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to you.
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
Why that's particularly memorable for me, or why I enjoy it so much, is that in all my kids shows, I've always done the Chinese sticks very standard way, but you seem to bring an originality to your pattern, to your stories. So that's muchly appreciated. Cheryl, do you
Thank
have
you.
some questions for Mike?
I do. Well, we saw one of the Dr. Mike's memorable performance that he loves, and I enjoy that immensely as well. What are some of the most memorable performances that you've done?
Well, I'd say two stand out really. After, I was a teen, and did my share of birthday party shows. However, my grandmother saw that there was a program on television on Sunday mornings called Wonderama, and she called them up and she got me an interview, and they had me perform on the TV show Wonderama, and I had to do a whole act for like 15 minutes. So that was quite memorable. I was about 16 or 17 at the time, so I was on TV. And what was very interesting about that experience was I had never performed to music before. But this was a TV show, and of course you had a director, and he picked the perfect music to do magic by. For me, it was in the background, it was soft. I can hear the song in my head to this day. And I noticed that when I started, this typical act, the die box, etc., I became very relaxed when the music came on in the background. It was very transformative for me, and I felt like a professional on stage. And, I was in front of a whole, 100 kids on the show, but that was a very impactful experience for me at the time. And then the second show that was kind of really amazing for me was in my travels. After college, I went to Africa to do some work with chimpanzees at the time, and I was visiting a hotel, and they asked me to do a magic show because I had done the odd trick here and there. So I had to quickly put together a show for the hotel. Now, I had done some hotel shows up in the Catskill Mountains when I was in high school, so I knew how to do a hotel show, but I didn't really have many props. So I easily done is the Miser's Dream. I used local coins, which were about $50 size. I had a set of Chinese sticks made for me by two of our African helpers. They made them out of bamboo. They were hollow sticks, and I had string and beads, and I was able to use them with local things I was able to obtain to do a set of Chinese sticks, torn and restored newspaper. So things like that, I was able to put on a show. So not only was it kind of amazing to do a show in Africa for some hotel guests in the bush, but they all spoke French. It was I was in French West Africa in Senegal, and the hotel owner who had asked me to perform, he spoke English. So as I was speaking, he was translating what I was saying into French. And it just sounded so amazing that I would be speaking in English and he would be explaining it to the audience in French. And I got just as much applause and everything else. So that was quite a memorable show for me. So those two shows stand out in my mind.
Oh, that is amazing. That's amazing. What did somebody write in the chat? If there was a host, somebody asked if Sunny Fox was hosting when you were on Wonderama.
Yes, it was Sonny Fox. That's correct. It was
Wow.
before Bob McAllister took over the show. So I think it was in 1967 at the time, something like that, when I
How
did the
long
show.
did it take for you to get ready for the Improv Hotel
That
show?
took a few days because I had to make a lot of props, kind of um,
That's
find
impressive.
things. For example, doing a torn and restored newspaper takes a little bit of preparation, but many tricks, card tricks, pretty easy to do. I had a deck of cards, and I did bring some props with me. I couldn't really do a sponge balls effect, which is typical, but I did the paper napkins trick where you have a spectator sit and then you throw the paper napkins up in the air. So it was quite amusing, but it did take a little time to get set up and practice it.
That's impressive. That's
Thank
impressive.
you. Thank you.
Um, Now I know when most people do things, whether it be art, karate, magic, has there ever been a time where you found your interests not so excited about magic? Just
Yes, yeah, of course. Once I had a family and got involved in my career, there was a good 25 or more years when I really didn't do anything regarding magic at all. I moved around a lot, moved to LA and Houston and back to New York. So there was a long period of time when I did no magic at all. And then recently, just in the last 3 years, I became interested in it again, and I sort of wanted to reconnect with my old self, that Mike the magician that you saw in the opening clip with this cute little handkerchief. I wanted to reconnect with my past and some of my teenage years. I actually took a trip to Chicago, saw Al, and he gave me some of my old props out of storage. And for me, it was sort of can I still do some of these things? Can I still do card tricks? Magic has changed over the years, so I became fascinated with a lot of the new effects and the newer magic. So I got back into it pretty heavily within the last 3 years, and I joined my two local clubs, the IBM and the SAM, and I made it a point to try and perform at every club meeting. Even though a lot of magicians that go don't necessarily perform, a lot of magicians like magic. They like to collect tricks. They like to buy the latest trick. People are magic enthusiasts for different reasons, but I tried to perform at all my meetings. And then, amazingly, I discovered open mic magic with Kevin Peele and Tommy Burnett on Tuesday nights. And I made it a point to try and perform on those shows as well, just to kind of relearn and see where I could take my magical skills. So that sort of, I have to thank, Kevin and Tommy for helping me reignite my interest in magic. And just sort of finally, a great moment for me was flying to London and performing a 10-minute act for members of the Magic Circle, and then again taking my exam via Zoom before the judges and being admitted to the Magic Circle. So I would say that was sort of a highlight of me getting back into magic.
wow, congratulations on that. That's it. Was there one particular thing you saw that got you back into it?
Well, I'm a big movie buff. So I know a lot of the old movies, and I know when Kevin Peele sometimes makes a joke or a wisecrack during the shows that's a reference to a movie. I just want him to know I get it because we watched a lot of the same movies. So I did see some movies about magic recently that came on, and of course, Penn and Teller's Fool Us is a popular show. So seeing some of these things, these latest shows on magic helped helped reignite my interest. And I will say one thing. I recently visited Pigeon Forge and got to see Terry Evanswood, his show. And I have his poster here in the background. And what was really special for me was Terry did all the classics, all the magic that I love and grew up with. Yes, I've seen Copperfield as well when I lived in LA, but Terry's show is not like that. He does illusions, but he did the linking rings, cups and balls, coin tricks, Miser's Dream. He did all the stuff that that we do and we love, that amateurs can work at. So that really inspired me a lot and gave me a lot of connection and closure with the kind of magic that I like.
Oh, that is nice. Now, do you perform much now?
Not really. The club that I belong to puts on charity shows, so I take part in those. And the nice thing about that is I don't have to do a whole 25, 30-minute act. I'm there with, 6 or 7 magicians, and we each do a 10-minute spot. So I enjoy that, being on stage, doing a show occasionally with other magicians. And then we have another thing we do called Magic a la carte, where we get a restaurant to book 6 of us, and we do table hopping. The patrons pay a fee for dinner and show. Then we do table hopping before dinner and between the courses. And then at the end, each of us does 10 minutes of magic, a little floor show. So I do that too occasionally. So that's all I do. I'm not really interested in doing parties and shows like that at this point.
Well, it keeps you one, busy, and 2, refreshed and everything.
Right. Thank you. It does.
Oh, Miss Dr. Likey, I will let you close out.
What is next for you, Mike? What is next, do you think?
I have on my list to, see some more of the greats. I haven't been to Las Vegas on a visit in decades, and it's changed a lot, and there's a lot of magic there. Even David Copperfield and Lance Burton. I don't know if his show is still there. I think it is. Maybe not. But there are some great magicians in Vegas I'd like to see. I would like to go back to London again, see some friends there now that I've made, Kevin and the gang, and some of the open mic people. And that's really on my list, seeing magic more than doing magic.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to share with our audience as well another one of your performances, probably from open mic or the Tuesday Night Magic. It's now open mic on Wednesday. Let's do this. Enjoy, everyone.
Hello, magicians and magic fans.
Yay!
Oh.
On that topic of travel, I just have a little story to share. It was my last day in Nepal, and I had to go to the airport. I was in kind of a rush, and I did a little last minute shopping, and I found this beautiful golden Buddha that I wanted to bring back. It was a little bit big to carry in my luggage. I really didn't have room. The salesman in the store, he was very pushy. And he said, what's the problem? And I explained to him it wouldn't fit in my luggage. And he said, look, I will give you a solution to that. It's a magic Buddha board. And I said, really? He said, yeah, let me show it to you. And I'll share that with you right now. I'll show you what it was. And the salesman said that all I needed to do was buy this magic Buddha board. I said, how much is it? He said, it's the same price as the Buddha. I said, well, that golden Buddha's pretty nice. It seems a little bit expensive. Actually, it was 2,000 rupees, which is about $14. So I said, how does the thing work? And he said, well, it's very simple. All you do is you take this, you buy this board for the same price as the Buddha, and then when you bring it home, you open it up and you'll see a prayer on the other side, and then all you need to do is recite the prayer and the Buddha board will make the Buddha appear. Well, I was pretty skeptical of that, and what I did was I put on, at the time I happened to be wearing my Sean Connery hat, and I looked around this store with all these fancy brass objects, and I said, most things in here don't react well to bullets. And he got a little bit frightened at that, and he tried to show me how this thing would work, and it didn't work. And he said, just trust me, this thing is going to work. So I took this Buddha board through, I was worried about customs, but the real problem was the TSA. I took the Buddha board through the TSA, and I was afraid they'd x-ray it, but they didn't. And when I got it home, I did exactly as the man had told me. I recited the magic words, which were Shanti, 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 which actually means peace, peace, peace. And to my surprise, when I got home, I did find the golden statue of the Buddha. And I was very pleased at that. And I just wanted to say, thank you.
I love it. I love that, Mike. Always enjoy you when you're on Open Mic Magic.
Thank you.
On Wednesdays. Look that up on Facebook. Cheryl and I have prepared a little effect in your honor. We're trying to do this now for every guest we have. We try to put something together. So keeping this in mind, I'm just going to move this down a titch, which is apparently a unit of measurement. And just want to point out Taoism doesn't have much to do with Buddhism. However, it's a pretty box. So we're using it this day. And just to sort of set the mood, I decided to maybe use the this fabric. And I have several Buddha statues as well at home. I have a larger one. I have several. I've been into Zen many, many years and have explored Tibetan Buddhism as well. Nonetheless, the little statue and probably a flashlight will play an integral part of this next effect, or experiment, if you will. Naturally, we're using, as we often do, a hairy deck of playing cards as well. And I think we'll do it this way. Mike, I'll get you to just say stop as I'm dealing the cards face up.
Stop.
So that will be the next card that I was going to deal. We'll leave that there. I just want to emphasize for everybody, he could have stopped me anywhere. It was truly a free choice. And at this very moment, I have no idea what the card is. I will share it with everybody. It is a king of diamonds. And as I say, you could have stopped me anywhere. Going to bury it somewhere into the deck. I'm going to cut a few times as well. Now, it will be my job and Cheryl's job to locate your playing card with the help, I think I'll use the smaller one, with the help of the Buddha. So I'm going to get you all to focus on your King of Diamonds while Cheryl has her deck of playing cards. And I'm going to ask you, as you're visualizing your card, Mike, I'd like you, if you will, once again to call stop
Stop.
right there. That was
Yes.
pretty clear, but I just want to make sure. One or two?
One, the one that's sticking out more. Yeah.
One? Excellent.
Hmm. That's
That
the
would
one.
be appropriate. That would certainly be appropriate for this experiment. And as I say, you could have stopped me anywhere. You could have stopped that light anywhere. Um, Spread out the cards as well. Let's see if it worked. Cheryl and I are going to reveal what I'm hoping is a minor miracle. We've set nothing up before. Mike, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Very well.
Wow.
We both have
Oh, amazing.
the
Very
king
good.
of
Very nice.
diamonds.
Very nice.
There we
Well,
go.
thank you. That was really sweet, actually, for you to use the Buddha and the light. I love that.
Exactly, exactly. And I want to thank you so much for joining us this day, Mike.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you. And I love the information you share with all of us in and around the effects that you do as well. Will you come back sometime?
Sure. Thank you so
Oh,
much for asking me.
awesome. Thank you so much for saying yes. And we'll see you very soon, Mike. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. I'm signing out.
And there we go. That was so exciting, Cheryl. I'm so glad that Mike came on the show. Did you love him?
That was awesome. That
It-
was very, very informative.
Absolutely.
I love his first trick with the little kitty cat.
I know. I
Stop
know.
motion, just the imagination destined for that.
I thought it was the real thing. I thought he really fooled me.
Oh,
Uh,
he
I
tricked
want
us.
to thank you so much, Cheryl, as well this day. I'm going to unspotlight you so you can do your technical thing in a minute or
Okay.
so. Thank you for being an exceptional co-host. She's my prize winning, and you really are, partner in magic. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
as always.
And I want to thank all of you out there as well for joining us this day. We're here every Saturday at 1 p.m. LA time, West Coast time, 4 p.m. New York time, or East Coast time, if you will, and 9 p.m. UK time. We have an incredible lineup of guests over the next few months. Do keep us in mind. I hope you'll join us again really soon. Thank you.